Alright.
Hello there, everybody. It's me, Goldus Gaming, and freaking Rebel 3000, holding a camera.
I am here, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm here going over my tournament. Battling Boxer did not win a single match, but it's still fun to use. Battling Boxer deck. Why did I say Battling Boxer twice? I'm being redundant. Let's get started, shall we? First, I run one big bandage because making Battling Boxers indestructible in battle is kind of pretty cool. Along with that, the level change, sometimes I like to do some shenanigans and change them all to level 4. And yes, I know what you're thinking. Aren't they mostly all level 4? Well, I also run Counterpunch, so yeah. Second, speaking of Counterpunch, 3 Counterpunches, because Counterpunch is the best hand trap in this deck. I pulled off some bullcrap. I won one game with this because I did like a massive direct attack and just banished 2 counterpunches and did 8,800. Then Battling Boxer Veil, because this is the second best hand trap in the deck. Pretty much, I want to run more of him, but I don't know what to take out for him. So I might actually take out Big Bandage for him. Pretty much, you take damage, and pretty much you just play him, and you gain life equal to the damage you just took, which is garbage. Because if you're like, you lose, no, I don't. Suck it. Next, one key card in the deck. 3 headgears. Headgear is the shit. He sends Big Green to grave. He sets up your Big Green plays. He's just the shit for playing Big Green. Next, Sparer. He has the downside of Soul Charge with the inherent ability of Kate Kokage. Minus the... You just have to have a Battling Boxer on him. So you just special him and go right into like some quick 3-card Xyz summons really fast. And it gets pretty dumb. Next is Switcher. He has the downside of you can't play any other effects except for Battling Boxer monster effects. Means I can do some shenanigans, spells, and traps. Plus, this card is the card you want back from Big Green. Because you play him, you get back your Big Green, and then you go right into some bullshit. You get right into some bullcrap with freaking 101. With Arc. Next is one Shadow. I want one more, but I don't know what to take out for it. I'm thinking about taking out one Sparer for him, because Shadow is the superior card. Detach an Xyz material from an Xyz monster control, and just play him. It has to be a Battling Boxer Xyz monster, though, which is the downside, so I only do it off Cestus, because it's Cestus. Next, 3 copies of Big Green, because Big Green is your grab back. He is your freaking monster reincarnation. And also, he's literally instant monster reincarnation, because if he's summoned, well, if he's targeting for an attack, he kills himself instantly. Like, he died to Max C earlier. And I end up killing off Max C, thank goodness. Next, for the one not in theme monster, is Goblinberg, because Xyz plays. I mean, what other reason do you need? On to the spells. Spells consist of 2 Battling Boxing Spirits, because Spirits is actually a very good card to me. Spirits is pretty much, again, going into your Battling Boxer plays, and the only downside to this card is literally setting this card up, which is sending the top card of your deck to grave. So pretty much, send Headgear, play Headgear. Of course, you have to have a pre-existing target, but still. You can still target the card you send. Next are my rank ups, because I run cast numbers. You can all suck it if you don't believe me. 2 Baryon Forces, because Baryon Force actually does some bullcrap with taking Xyz materials from other monsters, and Xyz are still a big thing nowadays, so just taking that is pretty dumb. It's pretty fun to do. Next
Here's
is...
the spicy tech.
Yeah. Next is Numeron Force. Jesus Christ. Not yet. I'm getting into that next. Numeron Force. This is the second to last rank-up magic that I run. Negates all effects on the field that are face-up, except for the Xyz monster you play with this. Making it stupid. And now the best rank-up magic, arguably the second best rank-up magic, next to, according to a lot of people, Astral Force, and they won this argument, the 7th one. Because this literally is instant burying hope for me. This is instant going into my big boss monsters. This is bull to the shit. This is why I run Dark. This is why I run fucking 103. This is why I run all of that shit.
And if he had Chaos Tachyon, he would.
Yeah, if I had Tachyon, I would. Just as one of my partners said, freaking, if I had Tachyon, I would. I would Tachyon. Next are just some standard staple cards. Rhoda, Soul Charge, MST, which I want to replace for Twin Twister. Overlay Regen I use because sometimes I get fucked, and sometimes I like being a nice guy and giving it to my opponent. And then Upstart. Now onto the traps. My traps are kind of stupid. Disruption Wall. This card is an attack reducer. If your opponent declares an attack, reduce all their it's pretty much like reverse United We Stand. But like it's absolute reverse because it affects all of your opponent's monsters and it's for every monster they control. So it's the dumbest shit. Jolt Counter because Jolt Counter freaking negate. Sometimes negating effects during the battle phase. Yeah, effects happen during the battle phase. Remember that, people. Jolt Counter helpy that a lot. I want to get more copies of this. Might take out Disruption Wall and Upstart for 2 more copies. But for now, I'll just keep the 1. Next, I have Battleguard Howling. This card does some shenanigans. It's pretty dumb. Pretty much just, if a warrior's targeted for any means, bounce the warrior. Well, is it bounce the warrior? No, it's bounce a monster your opponent controls. It targets, so it doesn't work on like it doesn't work on Cosmos and shit. But I mean, who's playing Cosmos anymore? But it bounces something, and then deals damage to your opponent equal to that. So like, let's say they play fucking Alternative Dragon and they target my monster. Howling, bounce Alternative, and deal them 3,000. Xyz Veil. This card is my protection for a lot of stuff. Because I don't like my things targeted. No one does. No one wants anything targeted. In fact, this actually helps my opponent, which is why it doesn't get blown up that often. Next is Blackhorn, which I want to replace for Grandhorn or a Solemn Warning. Because I don't have that, which is sad. It makes me feel bad about life. But anyway, just pretty much just negates one attack. This is the worst freaking summon negation ever in the game, if you ask me, and if you ask a lot of other people. It is this. If you ask me, it's the second worst counter trap in the game. Second worst. First worst is Goblin out of the Frying Pan. Xyz Reborn, because this gets my cards back really, really fast. This will be going in my Juyin Sheen. I don't know.
The Zodiac archetype.
The Zodiac Xyz spam deck, because going back into Bullhorn is pretty badass. This also works because going back into like number 79 is pretty cool. Next is my Call Haunt. Pretty much just staples: Call Haunt, Torrential Tribute, except for these two: Desperate Tag and Battleguard's Rage. Battleguard's Rage is pretty much just giving 1,000 to a monster, and if it kills something, it goes back to the owner's hand. Meaning they don't get, like, this actually helps against PK Fire, because they don't get their Grave effect off, because it bounces back to hand. So it gets pretty stupid, but it only works on warriors, so I always give it to, like, Arthur or Comet Cestus. And then Desperate Tag's pretty much just no damage as long as you control a monster, which makes people angry. This deck just makes some people mad. Then we go into the extra deck and side deck. Well, I'm going to go with the side deck version. 1 Gun Demon. And last counter that I don't have on. My extra deck consists of a Burying Hope, because I run Burying Xyz, because they are awesome and have broken effects that people do not realize are broken until they face them. Silent Honor Dark, this is an example of what I'm saying. It can eat one special summon monster once per turn. It is targeting, so it doesn't work on Cosmos. It's so sad. This is the effect you really want it for. If it's sent to grave for any means, and there is a 101 in the grave, special summon it back to your field and gain 2,800 life points. So it becomes bullshit. Next is Ragnaffinity, which pretty much is just banish a monster your opponent controls, non-targeting by the way, that has a difference in its attack and defense, and then burn your opponent for that difference. And it does the same thing, the same effect as its big brother, does, and if 103 is in the grave, you play it back. You don't gain the life points, but you do get a 28 beater back. She does not absorb, so she can only do it once. Next is Cestus. Don't worry, we're almost out of the Barian Chaos. We're almost out of the Chaos numbers. We only have... This is the last Chaos number, but we're not out of the Chaos cards. We have one more. Pretty much just freaking popping stuff, burning your opponent, attacking into some decent attack point monsters, burning your opponent for a bit more. This card just burns your opponent for bullcrap. Just because you can. Next is Comics Hero Legend Arthur. The second to only Hero Xyz monster. It's not a part of the hero archetyping, but I count it personally. Can't be destroyed in battle, and if it has Arthur, which is the other hero, if it destroys a monster, I can detach one, banish that monster, so meaning Cosmos are fucked, and then deal damage to my opponent equal to that monster's attack. So it just crash into roots. Not roots, sorry, fucking... I crash into fucking Dark Destroyer. They don't get the special. And then Arthur effect, burn them for 3k. Next is Arc.
Stable.
We all know Arc. We all know why Arc. Blade Armor Ninja, because it's a warrior staple, getting to attack twice.
That, and he doesn't have any Utopia.
Yeah, and I don't have Utopia. The main Utopia I don't have is the Lightning. I have like 1 million copies of Classic, but no Lightning. If I had Lightning, then I think I would take... I think I'd take out my second 105. Next is 279s. I do this because it's a Barian Hope target for... with regular Barian Force, you can go into Cestus off him, and then go into Hope. But, yeah, also the reason I run 2 of them instead of 1, which normally I'd run 1, but I run 2 because I can go into Numeron Dragon with it, and Numeron Dragon is stupid in this deck. Next is Arthur. Arthur can't be destroyed... some people don't know what Arthur does. Arthur can't be destroyed in battle once a turn. Not once a turn. No, just if he dies. He can't be destroyed in battle by detaching the Xyz material. Then he burns your opponent for 500 and then gains 500. This guy has got me through some tough situations. Really tough situations. Next is Ragnazir, which is the really crappy version of Ragnafanti. Not really, actually. This card is pretty dope. This card does target, and it's to a card that has difference in attack points, and it has to be in attack position. But it pops it, meaning it sends. Obviously, we all know what popping is. So it pops it, and then you get the draw card. So I mean, it's some draw power right there, and then you go. Then you play your freaking card to go right into an Infinity. And both of them are quick effects. So, they activate on other players. Next is 2 105s. One of these I'm thinking about replacing for Utopia when I get the Lightning. But outside that, also I can use him to go into Numeron Dragon if I get the chance to. Usually that never comes up, but still. He's a pretty baller card. He protects all your monsters. And also your opponent takes all damage you would, so you can like attack into... you can attack into as the last person, King of Skull Servant with it, with freaking counterpunch, and your opponent takes all that 8,000 damage. And it's non-targeting on the monster, it's just their life points. So I mean, they can't use Lady of White and shit. Next is Dark Rebellion. I actually just got this and replaced Gundiva for this. But freaking Dark Rebellion, we all know what he does, we all know how good he is. And then we have Numeron Dragon, which Numeron Dragon is pretty dumb, because he just takes 2 numbers of the same rank and name. So 2 Nova Kaisers. It doesn't even have to, yeah, name and rank. So you go into Nova Kaiser and then Numeron Dragon. Detach. He gains 1,000 for every rank on the field. Not much on his own. But when you pair him up with these, because of freaking, because of the 7th one, I can go into one of these and this first turn.
About if the opponent is using...
Yeah, and if they're using Xyz monsters, it gains from that too. Yeah, they get from that. So yeah, that's pretty much Battling Boxers. It's pretty shenanigans, and I love it.